This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Hanover Infirmary to get new matrons' quarters. New matrons' quarters are to be constructed at the Hanover Infirmary in Lucy. Minister of Local Government and Rural Development Desmond McKenzie said that the project will represent the final phase of the upgrading of the infirmary. He noted that the previous facility was destroyed years ago and the new quarters will provide a more comfortable working environment for the matron and other support staff. He said that a therapeutic park will also be built to meet the physical, psychological, and social needs of the institution's 38 residents. Once we complete the construction of the matron's quarters and put in the therapeutic park, we would have completed our development of the Hanover Infirmary, and again, I must say that this is one of the better-run facilities, he said during a visit to the institution on Friday. The matron and the poor relief officer and the Hanover Municipal Corporation has been working to ensure that the quality of the facility is maintained, and I am really proud of this facility, he added. In the meantime, McKenzie noted that the kitchen being built at the infirmary is almost complete, with only minor works still to be done. The necessary furnishing and appliances, including a refrigerator, are being installed. The kitchen, being constructed at a cost of approximately $12 million, will replace the older facility, which was closed by the Public Health Department. For her part, matron of the Hanover Infirmary, Kayan Dyer, welcomed the plans to build a new matron's quarters. She said that members of staff are elated about the upgrading of the infirmary, including the new kitchen. I know it is going to be of benefit to the residents, and of course, staff will have a more comfortable space to work in, she pointed out. Court upholds lawyer's lifetime ban after almost $3 million payment withheld from client. The lifetime ban imposed on an attorney who failed for several years to hand over almost $3 million in payment won by his client in a lawsuit has been affirmed by Jamaica's second highest court. Debayo Adedipe was found guilty of professional misconduct in 2019 by the disciplinary committee of the General Legal Counsel, which ordered that he should be struck from the list of attorneys authorized to practice in Jamaica. The Court of Appeal, in a decision handed down on Friday, found that the hearings conducted by the committee were not in breach of the principles of natural justice and therefore not nullified. As a result, there is no basis to set aside the committee's decisions, the panel of 3 judges ruled. Adedipe was hauled before the committee by his then-client Kimisha Gregory, who was shot and injured by members of the security forces in 2004 while she was a minor. The following year, Gregory, through her mother, hired the attorney to represent her in a lawsuit seeking damages against the state for her injuries. The trial ended in December 2009, but it was not until September 2011 that she was awarded $1.9 million in general damages and $250,000 in exemplary damages, both with interest, court records show. Adedipe advised Gregory of the judgment by letter dated September 30, 2011, according to documents published by the court. Nearly 3 years later, she got confirmation from the Attorney General's chamber that the $2 million had been paid over to her attorney. Despite several attempts, it took another 3 years before she heard from Adedipe via email on July 17, 2017, promising that payment would be in 14 days. She provided him with her banking information, but that promise fell through, according to the court documents. Gregory retained a second lawyer who wrote to Adedipe on August 7, 2017, demanding payment, and got an email 8 days later indicating that he should expect a letter in a few days. That too fell through. Gregory took her complaint to the GLC, the body that has oversight responsibility for the legal profession in Jamaica, which subsequently convened a hearing. But court records show that before she was to be cross-examined, Adedipe made a full admission of the complainant's case to the committee. In particular, he admitted receiving the sums from the Attorney General's chambers in satisfaction of the judgment on the complainant's behalf and admitted that he had failed to pay them over, read a section of the transcript of the hearing. The committee noted too that he made arrangements with Gregory in its presence to have the money paid over to her. As a result of this full admission and the restitution to the complainant made by the appellant, the committee found him guilty of professional misconduct, the GLC said. The attorney confirmed during a meeting before the disciplinary committee on July 29, 2019, that Gregory would receive $2.8 million later that day, reflective of the initial court award with interest, minus his fees of $945,673. This time, the money was paid over, the committee confirmed. But with the committee set to decide on his punishment, Adedepe complained that it could not proceed to sanction him because he was not given the opportunity to cross-examine Gregory or present evidence on his own behalf. This complainant also formed the basis of his legal challenge to the Court of Appeal. Ravel Golding, the attorney who represented Adedepe in both cases, argued that his client was denied natural justice when the disciplinary committee found him guilty without affording him the right to cross-examine Gregory. He argued, too, that Adedepe had not waived his right to cross-examination and should have been allowed to exercise that right. But that assertion was rejected by the presiding judges, who pointed to his actions before the members of the disciplinary committee when he admitted not paying over the money to Gregory and voluntarily agreed to make restitution. Any reasonable person would be forgiven for thinking that, in such a case, the issue of culpability was thereby settled, said Justice Frank Williams, who wrote the unanimous judgment. Was there any other outstanding issue joined between the parties? Inquiries were made to the appellant Adedepe, and he could point to none. Neither did his attorney indicate any area in which there was an outstanding dispute as to liability, he added. Limited take-up of cash offer for info on guns. Despite reaping immense success in the recovery of illegal firearms across western Jamaica since the start of this year, governments offered to provide financial compensation for information leading to the recovery of illegal weapons has largely been snubbed. In February, Prime Minister Andrew Holness announced that the government was taking steps to institute a multi-million-dollar reward fund for information leading to the recovery of illegal firearms. He noted at the time that payouts could range between $250,000 and $500,000. But in a recent interview with the news, commander of the Area 1 Police Division, Assistant Commissioner of Police Clifford Chambers, expressed that take-up of the government's initial is infinitesimal in the western end of the island. The Area 1 Police Division constitutes the parishes of Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, and Westmoreland. As it is right now, we have gone over 100 guns in the area alone, and it is far more than what we recovered last year. And if you ask me, the percentage where persons are asking for remuneration for gun find out of that amount, honestly, I can't tell you if it is 1 or 2, but if it is very minuscule, ACP Chambers revealed. He was, however, encouraged that the police were increasingly picking up intelligence leading to the recovery of illegal firearms. And so we are still hoping to continue in it, ACP Chambers argued. National Security Minister Dr. Harris Chang noted that, contrary to public perspective, the majority of police enjoy the confidence of the citizenry, which he claims has contributed to the flow of information leading to the increased recovery of illegal firearms this year. A lot of people are responding directly to the police as opposed to Crime Stop. The majority of police officers have someone who shares their confidence. It is just that the wider narrative is not so, but that's the reality. And they prefer to speak to somebody directly who they have confidence in than an anonymous background. That's Jamaicans, Dr. Chang said. But the moral persuasion has been working well. The number of guns picked up is greater than last year. ACP Chambers concurred that individuals in Western Jamaica have more confidence in passing on information to a cop they trust rather than communicating anonymously to Crime Stop. We are picking up that the communication involves some calling, some level of calling, whether it's through Crime Stop or through Anonymous, and with the technology being what it is, I have heard it personally that they don't trust the calling. They would rather speak to a man that they trust personally and then to get that assurance that will be provided, ACP Chambers said. So it augurs for more flexibility at the level where even with all the structures of confidentiality being a part of the construct, they are still having some level of reluctance based on the local discussions when I move on the streets. So that's one of the issues. The security minister contended that the communication aspect of the initiative might have to be evaluated. We may have to review the policy to go through Crime Stop, but at this point, that is how we are operating. Crime Stop has been long established. We don't want to in any way weaken their presence because they are doing very well, Dr. Chang told the news. ACP Chambers expressed that in Western Jamaica, the people providing the information would rather pay out to be decentralized and with a little bureaucracy. We are picking up that the discussion augurs for a form of flexibility in terms that they would want to know that they can provide it and to be paid for at the local level rather than the formal call and stuff like that. They would want to know that they trust the Superintendent of Police Vernon Ellis and that they can call him and give him information, and as soon as the information is provided, a means is implemented so that they can get their money. So they are looking for the quickest means, the quickest method to avoid any bureaucracy once they are communicating with someone that they trust. Dr. Chang, who is also Deputy Prime Minister, disclosed that despite a 72% increase in reports to Crime Stop since the start of the year, the $250 million placed in a fund for disbursement is not yet depleted. We have the resources required. The first $25 million is not yet finished. Although we have a 72% increase in reporting to Crime Stop, Dr. Chang said. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.